Okay, so everybody wanted to see how I got this picture all edited up, start to finish. I'll do a quick walkthrough on what I started out with, masking out what I want to work on individually, and then some final color toning. So just a few quick basic edits. First of all, I will show you where I started out. This here is what I started out with. Quite a bit different from the original, as you can see there. I like to start by masking out my car, because that is what I want to work on first. That is the main point of the photo. I want to get that color right. So I start with the reflections and the distracting parts of the photo first. This one here being the biggest distraction. Clean up the side panels a little there. There goes that big one on the bumper. Your bumper is your worst enemy. You're going to get a lot of reflections in there. All the other cars that are surrounding you, or just trees, anything you can see around. Work on that. Closer there, get rid of those. Same with that big one. A few reflections on the hood, get a bit of that color back in the shadows. And then here is our first color toning. I just used a quick curves level. Brought up my blues, got rid of some greens, gave it a bit of overall contrast. Then some levels here to get my highlights back. But when I did all this, you can see that there is a lot of purple showing up. This car is not purple. We don't want that. So there we go. Selective color is your friend sometimes. Don't overdo it. No one wants to see a blue car in a black background or weird accents. Leave that in the 90s. My windows here, I did not have a polarizer on. I should have, so I darkened those a bit. And then just an overall saturation there. I brought this one down a bit just because that blue was really popping. So that's right for that. That's kind of how I want the car looking. So let's try to match everything else to it. Start with my background. Again, I just inverted that same mask. Feathered it in a little bit. And these lines, I hate road lines. They are always the first to go in my back plate. Get out of there. Again, that's just a lot of masking out individual sections. There it is there. Channel Mixer is my usual color correction tool. Lets you edit each color channel individually through the RGBs and their brightness and contrast. So that's great. Got rid of all those ugly yellows and greens. Yuck. And then threw a bit of contrast in there, just to make it a little more realistic. So this is one of my favorite parts next, is the sky plate. That big white blown out sky looks gross. Doesn't really add anything to the photo, so threw that in there. And your sky plate can come from anywhere. Like, just take pictures of cool skies, because this one came from the middle of Oak Lake. They're pretty easy to drop in, as long as you get your masking right along the horizon. And gradient masks to color match. This one here, I just picked these blues from different spots of the car. If your light matches your vehicle, it's going to look a lot more realistic. So there's just some blending in. And then finally, a levels layer to get some of those highlights back. Nice bright day. And last but certainly not least is our final toning layer. This is the big kahuna. You want to make sure that everything in this image matches color-wise. Right now these blues and everything are pretty close, but that looks pretty unrealistic. So a few levels, a few contrast, and a few curve layers kind of smooth it out a little. And then here's the big one. I warmed it up by using another gradient mask. This one's a little more funky. I wanted my shadows to stay black and have a bit of a blue tinge to them, so I left that down there. But my highlights and my midtones, I actually pulled colors, these copper colors here, out of the copper accents in the car. So again, you want that light to match what you're shooting. And then in the highlights here, I just wanted it to be white, like highlights should be. Threw that on. If that was 100%, it would look really cartoony. Little overkill. So I dropped this down to 55. Gave it some contrast. So that's it there. That is the final image. It came out pretty clean. I really like this kind of new edit on an old image. You can see those pen masking tools really help on the ground there. Really select everything out so you don't get that ghosting effect. This ghosting effect here is just motion blur, obviously. But that's it. That is start to finish just a quick overview of what I call a basic edit on a roller. So look at all those layers on the side. That's it takes some time, takes some work and practice, but you'll get there. And have any questions or anything, let me know. I plan on doing a few more of these videos. Next one, I'm going to concentrate on masking. Masking was kind of troublesome for me for a while, but once I learned how to use that pen tool, it really helps you get a nice clean mask. And then from there, you can start using the Blend If tool. It is fun. Let's call it fun. It's fun to work with. So that's our blending modes and Blend If down here. Just use different colors, different Instagram or histogram levels to fine tune your blending and layer masks. But that's a whole nother video for a whole nother time. If you have any questions or anything, let me know in the comments. I will get back to you as soon as I can. And yeah, thanks again. Talk to you later.